can't produce the license. It means you don't exist.
I'm standing here right in front of you. That means I must exist.
My name's Banana Joe, and I want a birth certificate.
First, I'll have to see your identity card.
What, are you trying to make a monkey out of me or something? With a load of bananas.
What does this have to do with bananas?
They make the world go round.
Howdy folks, I'm back, and this time I'm going to review a Bud Spencer movie that stars just Bud Spencer. There's no Terence Hill tagging along this time. He's going it solo. It's a vehicle for just Bud Spencer, and it's called Banana Joe. Yeah, there's a full-length feature film called Banana Joe, and it's Italian made, of course, and has all the usual markings of one. It has a real super scooper feel to it. Right, Crispin number 2? Oh, hey! Crispin number 2 has banana.
I brought you a banana.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna eat it right here, in celebration of Banana Joe. Thanks, Crispin number 2. That was sweet of you.
I live to give.
So this movie is a total whack fest, folks, so be prepared. Logic and the rules of physics take a back seat in the world of Banana Joe. The script for Banana Joe was written by Bud Spencer himself, under his real-life Italian name, Carlos Pedersoli. So let's get right to it. Bud Spencer is back, and this time he has to...
Colonel, now can I have my boat back? Not until you come up with identification.
Acquire an identification card, an ID, so he can continue living his life without hassle from the man. That's the entire plot, folks. In order for him to keep picking bananas on his tiny South American island of children and trading them for goods and services, he has to travel to the nearest city and get himself an ID. So hit the unforgettable Banana Joe theme song, because of course he has one. This is an Italian comedy, remember? Which means you'll hear it played at least 3 or more times throughout the course of the film. And I love the Banana Joe theme song.
Even though it's mostly in Spanish.
So like I said, Banana Joe travels back and forth from his South American island in this long-ass banana boat, waka waka, to the local dock marketplace to trade in his banana haul for supplies for all the children who depend on him at home, back on the island. What a guy, Banana Joe. And this is his entire life. Banana Joe has no idea what money is. He can't read or write.
Writing only works if you can read.
And has never even seen television. And clearly fashion is of no concern of his. Bananas. That's all he knows. He won't even get off his banana boat.
I never set foot off my boat. This line here, that's where my world ends.
I know. Your boat and the village of Amandido.
He's as bad as Samwise never leaves the banana boat. Yep, that small banana island is really his entire life, folks. All he's ever known.
What we need up there is a school.
To him, bananas are money.
How many bananas would it take to build one?
The lifeblood of existence itself.
They make the world go round.
Yeah, if bananas disappeared tomorrow, the world would spin right off its axis, according to Banana Joe. So Banana Joe gets his supplies and returns home, which is an event in itself. The return of Banana Joe to his village of banana harvesting locals who greet him like he's their king, and then raid his boat for supplies as he hands out his dollar store quality gifts to them. How a fat white Italian guy became the king of Banana Island in South America is never brought up. He's simply always been there. So then these dudes show up. They work for an asshole land developer who wants to corner the market on bananas. So he sent these guys to Banana Joe's island to survey and pretty much take over the place. Just as Banana Joe is taking his very complex shower that requires the work of like 20 local kids, which turns out to be pointless because he takes it fully clothed, soap and all. Only it's cut short when this kid alerts him about the new visitors. This weasel, who's already planning where the casino is gonna go. So Banana Joe sets him straight.
We pick the bananas around here, and I take them upriver to exchange them for the supplies we need for this village.
This island is his banana empire, and the people here depend on him and those bananas to survive.
Get it?
So beat it. The Weasel then starts talking legality and rights, like whether or not Banana Joe actually has a license to sell and distribute bananas.
But do you have a license, a concession from the government to pursue a commercial venture here?
Which he doesn't, of course.
Anybody trafficking in bananas must have a license from the government.
Who has time for that shit? He's never seen money and can't read. So he tosses these assholes out personally. Literally, too. He even uses his elephant breath superpower to send them off. So yeah, he has magical powers, folks, that he never uses again. So, thrown out by Banana Joe before they could even finish surveying the place, the Weasel reports back to the head douche himself, this bald guy.
The Banana King.
The crooked businessman trying to corner the market on bananas on Banana Joe's Island, where Banana Joe sleeps in a pile of kids every night, only to wake up every morning to a banana-filled breakfast.
And a big plate of fried bananas for everyone.
See? He's obsessed with bananas.
You kids know why I'm so strong, super strong. I never passed up on bananas.
It's a serious issue, folks.
At least he's getting a lot of potassium.
Maybe a little too much potassium. So anyway, on his next trip to the dock for supplies, they stick the law on him
Must have a license from the government.
for tossing those dicks out, since he has no legal right to transport and sell bananas,
Then let's see your license to transport bananas up this part of the river.
even if it is just for supplies and not actual money. Apparently he needs a license to do this, and now isn't even allowed to leave until he gets one. And the guy who Banana Joe trades with kindly intervenes and gives Joe some real cash to help him out a little bit. Something he's never seen before. Cash.
This is money.
Yeah, don't lose it.
So Banana Joe's boat is impounded and he's forced to go to the local authorities. There he's told that since he has no form of ID at all, his boat is theirs.
Not until you come up with identification. That means you don't exist.
I'm standing here right in front of you. That means I must exist.
Until he goes into the city and gets himself a birth certificate, which will allow him to get a license, ID.
Go first to the bishop's office and get a copy of your baptism certificate.
Only before all that, he has to get a copy of his baptism certificate
Certificate.
Yeah, after you were born, you were baptized, weren't you?
at the local bishop's office in the city, meaning he's gonna need to find a ride into the city. Only who will give him a ride, he asks.
All right, you'll ride with any Joe Blow that comes along.
Who's Joe Blow?
Only he's never even heard the term Joe Blow,
I don't know the guy.
as in your average Joe Blow. So yeah, now he has to go through all that shit just to get a license to get his boat back and continue his banana lifestyle. Baptism cert, birth certificate, and then finally the license ID itself. Bullshit, folks. Bullshit. Just to prove he exists. So he hitches a ride into the city via this guy, a local truck driver who transports bananas into the city, along with like 4 other trucks who all race to be the first one there. It's a big local event too, since whoever the winner is gets to pick the prices on bananas for the next week, or some shit like that. It's a fucked up banana system, I know. And they take it seriously too. It gets pretty competitive, and even dangerous if you ignore the cheap, cheesy toy truck events. Since all the other truck drivers, particularly this guy, work for the very same guy who's trying to take over Banana Island, is willing to run people off the road to win. Only Banana Joe gets a little pissed when he nearly kills a child, so he takes over the wheel by force and wins that damn race by nearly killing a bunch of city workers himself too. But hey,
You shut up.
he did it, and he even crashes directly into the car of Mr. Big Shot Banana Kingpin himself, sending him and his car flying into another bad effect that lands him directly into a pile of bananas. It's wacky, folks! But hey, check out that lost Tartarian architecture in the background. Pretty cool. That's real. So Banana Joe's the winner, and sets a new, far lower price on bananas for the next week,
100 a kilo.
which pisses off all the other drivers who work for Mr. Big Shot. So they take Banana Joe right to him on his private ship, where they lower him inside so they can beat the fear of them into him. Only it backfires and he destroys all of them instead. I guess it's highly implied anyway. They don't actually show it. Only after seeing that, Mr. Big Shot Banana Kingpin shits his pants in panic and jumps right off the ship. It's wacky! So Banana Joe takes a bus into the city, making this his first time in the big city. Bud Spencer in the big city, everybody.
Hey, lead the way. I never crossed a string.
where he also gets to see a TV for the very first time and thinks that the person in it is actually a real person trying to sell him clothes. After that, he saves this guy from getting his ass kicked. Even though he's just a con man who sold him a fake license earlier in the movie.
Whoever sold you this was doing you no favors.
Only Banana Joe gives him a second chance since he needs directions to the bishop's office. But first, takes Banana Joe to his gay clothes designer so he can get a new outfit. So he doesn't look like some average...
Oh, you're Joe Blow like all the others.
Yeah!
Everyone's always talking about Joe Blow. There's someone special.
So Banana Joe is set up with a new outfit, giving Mr. Con Artist Guy time to slip away, once again screwing Banana Joe over and leaving him with the bill. But fortunately, this guy is real nice, and totally gay for Banana Joe.
Are you comfortable in the cross?
Hey, quit that.
Get your hand off his Banana Joe. He even offers him room and board,
You can come home with me if you like.
which Banana Joe kindly declines. He's not gay.
Something queer about you.
He then puts on this styling leather jacket and gives Joe some advice. Since acquiring that ID is going to take some time and, of course, money, so he should probably find himself a job, since he is pretty much broke and clueless on the whole money system.
It shouldn't be difficult. There's always somebody who can use his wonderful biceps.
So cut to Banana Joe getting a job as a bouncer at this local club.
Yes, we're looking for the bouncer.
Since he does have a bouncer look to him, just like the gay guy said. And they hire him on the spot, too.
What does this have to do with bananas?
They make the world go round.
Really, Joe? There's not maybe just a little bit more to life than just bananas? It's all he knows.
With a load of bananas.
Anyway, he's a bouncer now. Real simple, Banana Joe.
If you see anybody molesting the customers, you will intervene and kick his ass out the door.
Just kick out the molesters. Yeah, that's when the club singer comes out and starts singing. It's 80s Taylor Swift, folks, and she's on fire. And Banana Joe immediately falls in love with her. He's obsessed. So after the song, this drunk starts molesting her. So bouncer Banana Joe to the rescue and tosses his ass right out of there. The manager then orders 80s Taylor Swift to mingle with the customers a little bit. And
When a customer invites you to his table, you should accept.
let them molest you a little bit. Wink wink, I guess. So Banana Joe tosses his ass out the door too. Yeah, the guy who hired him. That's when Mr. Big Shot Banana King himself shows up and starts molesting her too. So once again, Banana Joe is forced to bounce another molester. Man, a lot of molesters around here tonight. They're everywhere. That's when 80s Taylor Swift comes to Banana Joe's rescue and tells him that he should probably go now since he did just throw the manager out. So cut to later at 80s Taylor Swift's hotel room, where she gets to know a little bit about Banana Joe, who wastes no time and gets right to the point on what he's after.
I, want to make a baby with you.
Wow, Joe, I want to make a baby with you. Might as well say, let's fuck. Only she's not offended by this burly banana man,
Do you ask every woman you see for the first time to have your child?
and actually seems to want to get to know him better. So they're friends now. So cut to the bishop's office, so Banana Joe can get a copy of his baptism certificate. Only Mr. Big Shot Banana Kingpin sent his goons after him. So a little wacky fight ensues right there in the church. And check out this out of place light switch on a stone wall. Damn, what a bitch it must have been wiring that thing into stone. So anyway, after that wackiness is over, Joe finally talks to the bishop about his baptism certificate, which was sadly destroyed in a fire, so he's shit out of luck. The bishop then tells him to go to the registry office, so he spends the night on 80s Taylor Swift's hotel room floor, where Mr. Banana Kingpin Dickhead shows up just to hit on her because I guess he thinks he has a shot at her. Banana Joe is forced to hide, only he doesn't do it very well. And the two come face to face, where he panics and jumps out a third-story window in fear of Banana Joe. And survive too. Super! Banana Kingpin. So cut to him at the hospital, in the film's only nude scene. Great. And it was his ass that they chose. Wonderful. So now he's really ticked, and orders all of his goons to get this Banana Joe guy out of his life for good.
Find the big Hulk and wipe him off the face of the earth!
So 80s Taylor Swift drops off Banana Joe at a photo booth so he can get some pictures taken for his ID. Right in front of this fancy ass statue. And chiseled my ass. And also Joe's decided to go back to his regular outfit too. So he gets his pictures taken and heads over to the registry office. And holy shit, is it a madhouse, folks. The South American DMV is just as bad and disorganized as the North American one. People just waving papers at no one. Joe then bypasses the line for IDs and forces his way to the front. No one's gonna mess with Banana Joe, cause no one stops him. Only it doesn't matter cause this guy can't issue him an ID without a birth certificate.
But unless you produce your birth certificate, I cannot issue an identification card.
With no birth certificate, he could be any random.
You could be Joe Blow for all I know.
There's that phrase again that he doesn't get, so he's told to go over to the line for birth certificates instead, and then come back here, and we'll give you an ID card. So he forces his way to the front of that line, and asks for a birth certificate.
My name's Banana Joe, and I want a birth certificate.
Only,
First, I'll have to see your identity card.
yeah, he can't get a birth certificate unless he has an ID card. Wonderful system you got here, folks. And like any Joe Blow, Joe gets pissed at this bullshit and grabs the little fucker by the neck and demands a birth certificate. Ha ha ha! That's how you do it. Only he still won't issue him the birth certificate without the ID.
If you can't produce an identity card, I can't help you.
So he goes back to the ID guy and starts yelling in his face again, who still won't give him an ID without a birth certificate.
How can I give you an identity card if you don't have proof of identity? Go back to position 2 and get a birth certificate.
So he goes back to the other guy again and demands some friggin' answers. Only this just leads to a yelling match between the two window guys from across the room. It's a full-blown clusterfuck, folks, and everybody's invited. The human race in all its glory, Crispin.
Holy shit. I am glad I'm a Crispin and don't have to deal with any of that shit.
Yeah, nobody's asking a Crispin for his ID. Yeah, I don't think you need an ID.
I don't think.
Joe then gets to talk with the supervisor, who suggests that since he has no way to prove who he is, should just join the army.
But the best way to get proof of identity is join the army.
Since after you graduate and become a soldier, you're issued some form of ID, and that will be good enough. So cut to Bud Spencer joins the army, folks. Yep, it's turned into that now. Just like when Laurel and Howdy joined the Foreign Legion. Now he has to deal with this overacting drill sergeant,
But I have the power of death over you.
who he doesn't take seriously one bit.
You're pretty funny looking yourself.
What? How dare you?
It's gonna be a collision course with wackiness. Wah, wah. Since Banana Joe's way too big and clumsy for the army, even this guard shack is too small for him. Wacky! Boing. He then finds out that it's gonna be another 8 weeks before he receives any kind of ID from the army.
8 weeks? But I can't stay here that long.
You're still in basic training, Banana Joe. Only that's way too long of a time for Banana Joe to wait just to get an ID from the army. Only tough shit, Banana Joe. Drill sergeant guy don't care. You're in the army now.
Dare you, fatty?
Fatty? Yeah, he called him Fatty. So Banana Joe lets him have it. So it looks like the army isn't quite the right place for Banana Joe, if you ask me. Obviously, right? He actually questions things. The army don't need people like that.
What's my motivation for jumping this?
Yeah, what's his motivation, dipshit? Anyway, Banana Joe wins out in the end, and his drill sergeant is demoted down to his level. For being a shitty drill sergeant, take that, buddy. And now with him out of the way, Banana Joe takes this opportunity to just march his way right out of the army. Yep, deserts. Goes AWOL. Just like Terence Hill did in A Genius, Two Partners and a Dupe. These two guys, they just join the army and then decide they don't really want to do this shit. Fuck 8 weeks of basic training.
I want to be free like a buzzard.
He has the ID he needs, I guess, and goes right back to that registry department with his photos and demands an ID from that supervisor guy. And what does he do? He tells Banana Joe that now he has to get somebody to co-sign. Anyone will do. Even Joe Blow.
Any Joe Blow you know will do.
After that, you'll receive your birth certificate in, about a month.
You say a month later?
Yes,
You
sir.
don't understand. I gotta get a license to trade bananas now.
Yeah, after all that shit, they expect him to wait around for another month. And that's just to get the birth certificate, not the ID. So now he's finally had enough and Banana Joe blows his top. With all this official legal mumbo jumbo bullshit taking up all his time, so he stirs a coup.
Shut up, everybody, and listen to me a second.
Since all anyone in this place apparently needs is to get their form stamped by some old fart. So an uprising has begun. So Banana Joe and everyone in the place follow him to go storm the office of the man in charge and get some freaking answers and get some shit done too. So cut to that old fossil. This guy who's in the middle of a meeting with guess who? Mr. Big Shot Banana King A-hole himself, who, once he sees that it's Banana Joe leading this mob, does what he does best. Panics and jumps out the nearest window. Bye, buddy. Joe then confronts the old man minister of this place, hangs his whiny old ass up on the wall, and takes over his job, and starts handing out free stamps to anyone who needs one, because he's a man who knows how to get shit done. He turns this guy's dull office into a party hall, and they all love Banana Joe for this, and so do I. This is the true message of Banana Joe, in my opinion, of course. Stop wasting people's time with shit like this. It's fucking dumb and pointless. We have lives to lead here, people. Society can go straight to hell. Only the law doesn't agree, so they bust in and shut this little insurrection down. And arrest the great Banana Joe. Which is awesome news to that Mr. Banana Kingpin a-hole. Jumps out windows at the sight of Banana Joe.
You never have to leap out the window again, boss.
So cut to jail, where they were kind enough to find Banana Joe a Bud Spencer-sized prison suit with no sleeves on it. And once again, Banana Joe is baffled by what's happening to him and doesn't even know why he's in jail. They have to explain it to him.
You can't do that, huh?
No, it makes him mad.
He's also given a cellmate. This guy, the same guy who's ripped him off like twice now. So then 80s Taylor Swift stops by for a visit and informs Banana Joe that she's going to be performing tonight on his Banana Island at his village. Since now that he's out of the way and in jail, they've already put up a casino there and started taking over the place.
Now the place is booming. Tomorrow evening there's the grand opening of the Amatito Guacambo Club.
And abusing the locals by making them do all the work for pennies. So Joe's put back in his cell with his terrified new cellmate, who fears that Joe is just gonna kill his ass.
And I found a friend!
So cut to that casino on Banana Island, as 80s Taylor Swift and Mr. Big Shot Banana King arrive. Only now, they're gonna have to deal with Banana Joe, who has somehow managed to escape from prison with the other guy, and is now using a forklift to knock down that casino. How they escaped from prison will always remain a mystery, but they did it. None of our business, I guess. They spread banana all over the wall, and Joe ate his way through to freedom.
You can do it!
Who cares? They're here now, and Joe's taking a sledgehammer to the place. So let the final wacky battle begin. Bonk! Like in all of these movies. It's watch out, we're mad all over again. Only no dune buggy. He has no license. Oh wait, now he does. And of course they have the classic guys slipping on a banana peel gag. I'm surprised they waited this long to do that. But they did it, folks. Wacky. Which it is. It's a wacky fight. Maybe even a bit stupid. But you are watching Banana Joe. What did you expect? The duel of the fates? Anyway, he wins, of course, and as for that weasel guy, well, frozen solid in seconds. I guess he's dead now. This whole Banana Joe thing actually got somebody killed. It's wacky! Blah, 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 blah. Boing! Ah, whoa!
Wait, I'm sorry.
Only then the law finally arrives, looking for Banana Joe because, yeah, he's supposed to be in jail. Only they're here to tell him that he's been pardoned by the El Presidente, since I guess he has a grandkid now or something.
A baby girl.
A boy.
A boy.
A much-beloved president has granted an amnesty to everybody.
Sure, why the hell not? Don't think it friggin' matters at this point. Boy, Carlos, you really dribbled out the last half of the script, didn't you? Then it turns out that Mr. Banana Kingpin is actually a wanted man. Only El Presidente won't be giving you or any of yours amnesty. So problem solved, everyone. Everything is back to normal, basically. except for that dead guy. Joe then decides that he's dumb.
Who can become a banker?
So he decides to go back to school
I'm dumb. I better go to school.
with all the local kids so he can finally learn to read through the teachings of 80s Taylor Swift, because she's a teacher now, I guess? Banana Joe then closes out the movie by giving this kid some Banana Joe advice.
A man who can't read or write will spend the rest of his life being a Joe Blow. Take my word for it.
Yay! He understands what Joe Blow means now. The end. Hit the Banana Joe theme song. Cause that was Banana Joe, folks. Which leads me into my final thoughts on this Bud Spencer Whackfest. Banana Joe is a fun movie with no sense of how reality works. For most people. That's why I love it. The entire story is about a man trying to acquire an ID so people will stop fucking with him. It's a middle finger to societal norms and proves that none of that shit really matters. You don't need all these institutions and over amount of control over all the people. It's stupid and leads to Banana Joe type uprisings. Well, in reality, I think they're far more violent. Banana Joe is just a wacky comedy. And yeah, it could be a bit dumb at times. But that's what makes movies like this. Sometimes you just have to shake your head and say, really? Did you need to take it that far, folks? Did Banana Joe need to have an unexplained superpower? Whatever. It's fine. Banana Joe really did have a truly free life before all this go get an ID and join society shit. I wonder what natural food I could corner the market on so I could live like Banana Joe. Zucchini, dappa-dee-poo-doo-pa. His name is Eddie, and he likes to grow zucchini. He's zucchini, he drives a zucchini car. Or coconut, maybe? Coconut, and his name is Eddie Coconut. He grows coconuts, but he has no license to do so. Well, I got it. Avocado Eddie. Avocado! And his name is Eddie Avocado, and he sells his avocados for garbage. And say what you will about Banana Joe, but it was popular enough to get its own action figure. A really detailed one too. And with that, I'll end my review of Banana Joe. May you rest in peace, Bud Spencer, Carlos Pedersoli, Crispin and I love you.
Yay, Bud Spencer!
So a big thanks to all of my subscribers and leavers of comments. Adios for now, folks, and I'll see you at the theater.
What's my name gonna be? You know, Banana Joe and your Coconut Eddie or whatever. What's Crispin gonna be? Well, I got one. I wanna be Biscuit. Biscuit, and his name is Crispin. Biscuit, and my name is Crispin.